We did it once, and now we're going to do it again. NERDSoul. Late LK at OneYoungsta, hold it down, bring that StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people, today? Oh, yeah, we have finally made it to the end of the road.
Not the end that we thought it was.
No. But we are going to be talking about a very cool show. But before we get to that, we got a guest up here. You know what? He ain't even a guest.
Yeah, I was about to say, do I still count as a guest at this? I'm coming dangerously close to co-host at this point.
This is a friend of the show.
There we go.
Right? The very inspiring gentleman, only known as Solar Greye.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's Solar Greye, the cinematic sorcerer, coming at you with a review of the show that is inspired by the work of one of the most prolific magicians working in the field. That's why he calls me. That's why he calls me. He's like, wait, you know all that magic stuff and all that. All right, cool.
It was really kind of like, oh, you watched Doom Patrol? Cool. So, guys, before we get started, we are in the Comic Bug and Manhattan Beach.
Yep.
Check it out.
Shout out to the Bug.
Super dope, man.
Comic Bug and Game Bug.
Yeah, they got games, they got bugs, they got toys, all kinds of stuff. It's a huge space out here on Manhattan Beach Boulevard, so you should check it out because that's usually where I'll be chilling or I'll be at Culver City. But all that's out the way. We're talking about.
Oh, what about the doobly-doo and the other thing down there with the hidden the button and the bell and.
I guess.
Yeah.
Hit the thumbs up
when it's business time.
Hit the thumbs up. Share this to your friends. Yeah. Make sure to subscribe. Now you can hit that thumbs down, but if you do, I'm gonna send a roach to your house. You don't want that. I'm just telling you.
I'm just saying, if you hit thumbs down, why don't you tell us why in the comments?
Yeah, hit the thumbs down and be like, I hate y'all, and I'll be like, well, I hate you too.
Yeah, I hate your face.
I hate you too.
Why is he always wearing turtlenecks? Doesn't he have any other clothes? No. No, I don't.
So, with that said, we're talking about Doom Patrol, the finale, which is sort of like a two-parter we were talking about.
Hey, so, all good things. Star Trek reference.
They, all good things must come to an end. A very weird end.
Oh yeah, like the rest of this show has been totally normal and predictable.
I think they were really shooting for that weirdness. But from your perspective, how you coming, how you feeling about these two episodes?
Okay, so it's funny because I'm looking at these episodes and number one, if I was assured the same powers, I would be in the gym every day like Flex Mentallo.
Okay.
Every day. Well, I'd be like, boo, boo, boo-ha. Yes. But of course they had to take that left turn into, really?
I did not.
No one saw that on its way. No one saw that approaching the story.
They do an amazing job of doing things that you're like, huh? What? You know what? Doom Patrol does a great job of taking things that other writers' rooms would be like, why would we do that? But
and then they say, why not?
Making it cool.
Yeah.
Like making it something that like fits strangely.
Well, essentially what they do is, over the course of the season, they have said, okay, a lot of shows would try and give you grounded. That's been like the number one catchphrase since Nolan's Batman. Grounded, everything grounded, make it grounded, make it grounded, make it gritty, make it real. Doom Patrol said, okay, I see you're grounded and I raise you weird. And then they're like, make it grounded, but now make it creative, but creative and grounded. And they're like, I see my own weird and I raise you a severed unicorn head talking from a book. Yeah, but grounded? Grounded, look, it works, all right? Like, it just works.
I raised you an eyeball in the sky with another eyeball, and then the eyeballs looking at each other. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
To the finale.
Yeah.
Flex Mentallo, he flexes, and people
enjoy their time. Yeah, they enjoy his posing.
Except Jane still finds a way to be angry.
Well, they don't call her
about this.
They don't call her well-adjusted Jane.
Well, yeah, that's
They
true.
don't call her Zen Jane.
Like But you think this would be the one time where
Oh,
Jane
God,
could be a little...
It happened against her will. She'd be so angry
Well, yeah,
given
that's true.
her history.
Yeah, that's true.
But I really felt bad for Cliff. I really did, because he has no nervous system.
It's funny because Cliff was like, yeah.
Oh, I'm doing my dance.
It's me too, everyone. I'm feeling the same things.
Yeah.
It was funny to see that go down because it came out of nowhere. Like, dude flexes and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to.
I've been trying to avoid using any sense of that word. Yes, it did occur out of nowhere, and it was something that we did not see happening in the plot at the time that it was happening.
When it arrived.
Yes, exactly. I don't know how PG-13 your channel is. So
it's a family show, but this is also Doom Patrol. So we can take it like a little bit.
So,
but that was weird.
Yeah.
Danny Street is already weird. That was out of left field, but it made sense.
Matter of fact, it was exactly what was needed because of the rest of the episode was such a downer.
Yes.
This was
we got back into the crap.
Yeah, it was, hey, you having fun yet? Good, you're having a whole lot of fun. Let's give you the most fun a human being can possibly have at any given moment.
For a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
Too. That was like even people that were watching the episode were like,
Oh, dude, I will tell you, okay? Because
I'm watching this with my parents.
My girlfriend and I, we have 2 sets of TVs. You've seen the apartment and the studio,
so
the Wizard's
TV
Tower,
a
TV in pretty much every room. And I'm watching that in the bedroom, and I've got the volume up, and she runs in. She's like, "What are you?" Exact, and I'm like,
it's
back up 10 seconds. This.
It's like,
and she just.
I know what it sounds like. I know what you're thinking. It's not that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just looking at her like,
I know what it seems like.
I know exactly what you're thinking, and I ain't mad at you for thinking it.
To the ears, I understand it.
Yeah.
But it's just trust me. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, it
hands
ain't
above.
And it was like, we can talk about this, and we're talking about this right now. My face is starting to hurt from all the freaking laughter I'm holding back from.
That's how good that scene was, because it's just people like walking around, like reading magazines and stuff, just chilling, hanging out, and then all of a sudden,
boom,
it strikes.
Which is interesting because that is a trope that writer, Grant Morrison, uses a lot. He actually used it in, I believe it was 2005's X-Men Evolution #3, when a mob was trying to protest Professor Xavier's academy, and Jean Grey was like, "No, please stop! I'm Jean Grey," and blah blah blah. And Emma Frost is like, "You know what? We ain't got time for this." Went out and did the exact same thing and made people embarrassed, and then they walked away. And I'm like,
it's hard to protest after you're
after you're not so tense. Yeah. I mean, when you're that relaxed, it's like,
after you're relaxed,
no, we won't go. No, I'm good.
It's like
ice cream.
Oh man, take a nap.
Yeah, sandwich.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say this for the people that are a little bit older. Y'all know about that midday nap, right? Post midday nap. You wake up. It's like, man, it's 3 a.m. Well. Yeah,
that's about it.
With that said,
but then to find out that, again, Doom Patrol was inspired by the writing of Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
And Grant Morrison takes what everybody likes about things like Deadpool, like, oh, Deadpool is so clever, he breaks the fourth wall. And Grant Morrison goes, hold my ale, because he's a big crazy Scotsman.
Seriously?
And it's
I said it last time. You're right. This show breaks the fourth wall so much better than Deadpool, and Deadpool does it pretty well.
Deadpool does it well.
In the second movie, a lot of people hit it because it was kind of like jumping on those same points, but I still enjoyed the second movie. I enjoyed it a lot.
I did too, but again, I think that's because I can look at Zazie Beetz for days because I'm a terrible man that's trying to evolve and failing.
Man. But you need just a little bit of restraint. That's all. Just some restraint, some discipline.
I need a lot more.
So you just look, and you lock it in your mind, and then you stop.
And then you head to Danny Street and wait for Flex Mentallo to strike a pose. But but the thing is, like, when Grant Morrison breaks the fourth wall, like,
Yeah.
all right, this is a spoiler talk, right?
Yeah. They've seen the episode.
So
You
it
guys
turns
are
out,
with us. You've seen
so Mr. Nobody living in the white spaces between the comic book panels.
Beautiful.
That's not just breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
The only way it could do so more is if Alan Tudyk just materialized in your living room, sitting next to you, going, "This is my favorite part of the episode."
Watch this part right here.
Exactly. I don't know. And now it's about to get. Oh, you got Firefly on DVD. Thanks. You know, I mean, seriously. It's the only way.
He was like dancing because he's like, I won. I won.
And like, then he got bored.
The roach is like, nah, actually, it's still.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But yeah, and so putting it to where like, okay, so every time we see Alan Tudyk in this, or Mr. Nobody in this story, it's like, okay, well, that's a really inexpensive soundstage. Yeah. Oh, white. All right, fine, whatever. Yeah.
And we know, and now it has such a deeper meaning.
Exactly.
Beyond what we could have ever, imagined.
And when you look at the layers on this, okay, you've got this character named Mr. Nobody who's playing with reality.
Yeah.
And he lives on the comic page in between the panels, and his power revolves around narration.
Beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a trope.
Awesome.
This is a trope that Grant Morrison plays with a lot, like a whole lot of extra dimensional stuff. Saying, all right, I've made myself an extra dimensional being, so I play with you. Like, all right, Looney Tunes cartoons. Yeah. Those white background Looney Tunes cartoons where Daffy Duck or Bugs Bunny is breaking the fourth wall, and it turns out one of the other two are actually being the artist.
Yeah.
That it's like Grant Morrison looked at that.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. It's like he looked at that and said, I'm going to put that in every single one of my stories. Because that's what he does. I mean, he did it with Mitchell Spitalik and in Justice League, I believe it was like number 57 where Kyle as the Green Lantern goes into the fifth dimension. And Mitchell Spitalik explains to Kyle. Funny thing is, there's no wrong way to pronounce that.
What is it? It's like a MXTXXTX.
PLYX.
Yeah, it's like some stupid spelling.
But
unless he really exists, and I apologize for saying that.
Yeah, again, but yeah, he's like, look, I'm a fifth dimensional being, and I play with the fifth dimension, or I play with your third dimension in the same way that you play with lines on a page. Because I'm that far above you, and this is what I would really look like if you could see me. Now your nose is bleeding. Wow. And so him doing the same thing with Mr. Nobody, but making Mr. Nobody much less powerful, but still stupidly powerful with him narrating the entire show, knowing that it's a show.
That's the funniest part is when like you have Rita, she's like, no, this is my story now.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, no, you're not doing it right. So even that becomes like a funny play on evolving that character of Mr. Nobody and Rita at the same time.
And can we talk about Miss Rita? Because I am so proud of her.
She stepped up.
She stepped up on every level.
She's leader level now. She's making me proud.
And it was really good to have the actress, the character who essentially crafted her life around being other people in stories, cracking the code to the villain, telling their story and taking it away from them.
Nice.
Nice. I'm just kind of going.
Because she's like,
well
you're not
done.
even telling it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I got this.
And then out of nowhere, she finds her friends. Hey, how you doing?
She's like, and then suddenly they found each other. It's like,
yeah, and but then all that culminates to the biggest and most obvious plot twist that the first season could possibly throw at us.
Well, I don't know if, with how this show has gone, would you consider it obvious?
Oh yeah. Wait, because you got all that weird, but I'm sorry with the whole no, tell me the truth. I did this to you. It was all my fault. I engineered your guys' lives falling through the cracks and all that stuff. I'm the bad guy.
And that was crazy. And then when, of course, them picking up in the finale, where Jane straight just goes at him.
Good. And in truth,
she should.
yeah. Now,
As she should.
his ploy with them before the big reveal at the end of the episode, I was actually taken. That part wasn't obvious. Where it was like Cyborg coming in, killing them, and then they just kept going into this repeat thing over and over. And I'm like, I wonder how many iterations they're gonna do. Like I caught it by the first time they were killed by the big Mr. Nobody toy. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're repeating it. I wonder how many times this is gonna happen.
Well, see, I still didn't know which one it was, because I was like, okay, he's still in control. I was like, so apparently he's not dead.
Oh no.
And I thought he basically took Chief's spot. So that's what I was thinking.
You didn't think it was Cyborg?
Yeah, I didn't think it was Cyborg. I thought he just switched out Chief and was just sitting there. But then when you saw Chief, his kind of look on his face, I was like, oh, no, maybe it's not him. Well, I was like, I think he's really experiencing this.
And I got to say,
maybe it's someone else.
Those writers totally fooled me, because I even forgot what Cyborg was wearing. And that was the big thing. And I was so taken in.
Jumpsuit still.
And I was so taken in by him using his tagline from a different show that I'm like, oh, like, yes. All right, well done. Well done.
In your face, Mr. Nobody.
Yeah. And but beyond that, it was, that big reveal, and then the consequences of that big reveal, and that's where we get, ladies and gentlemen, into the finale. Yeah. That is. Okay, so my girl has not been watching the show with me.
All right, okay.
And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to be hooking up with NERDSoul today, and we're going to be doing the whole Doom Patrol thing. I better watch this episode. And she's like,
it'd be nice.
You can watch it in here with me. And I'm like, are you sure? And of course, she's like, yeah, but if I have any questions, I won't ask any questions, and I'll just go back and watch the previous episodes. I'm like, I want your word.
I need.
Matter of fact, sign here.
Here's the document.
Because of anything that
like,
she gives the word.
Pages and why is it already prepared?
If there is anything she promises me that she's not going to be like, okay, now what does that mean? And what does that mean? It's not that show. I'm like, are you sure, honey? Like any other show, I would take your word for it. But I've been watching this show, and there's going to be questions. And to her credit, no, she was just like, all right, I'm going to have to watch this.
Oh, and I will say this: I did like the throw to Gorilla Grodd.
It wasn't Gorilla Grodd.
It wasn't?
No,
it was. He said it was a gorilla, and I'm like, he's super smart.
It was the Ultra Humanite. The Ultra Humanite, because Gorilla Grodd does not speak French.
Do we know that?
As a comic fan, yes, I do.
I mean, maybe he's been holding back all these years.
No, the Ultra Humanite is a hyper-intelligent man's brain who he actually transferred into another body, and he chose the body of a gorilla, because why wouldn't you?
I don't know. Super cool, and they can climb and stuff. I don't know.
And
what are gorilla powers? I don't know. They climb.
Seriously?
They're super strong, and they're like
they're terrifying.
Okay, all right. So that's
they have big teeth that can bite 4 times more than an alligator.
Wow.
And think about this: a chimpanzee, okay, cute like Bubbles, Michael Jackson, can tear the arms off of a human being. Now, how strong must a gorilla be?
Baby Bubbles gotta go. Baby Bubbles.
Yeah, exactly. So just think about that. So I'm like, all right.
See, I thought they were throwing the Grodd. So okay.
No, they were throwing to the Ultra Humanite.
You're out.
Humanite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Grodd didn't come into his power until the 1970s.
Right.
And
also,
so
how bad at being evil must you be for the Brotherhood of Evil to be like, this plan is cool and everything, but we were really expecting more for you.
Oh, that's easy.
Have to let you go.
That's
I'm sorry.
You got to be Seth Green. Just diet evil. Just 1 calorie. Just 1 calorie evil. You can take your toys and go away because you're not evil enough.
It's like imagine like getting fired from the Brotherhood of Evil. Like you can't even be bad right. It's sad. But the real finale. That's the real finale. This is it. My wife has watched most of these episodes it's sort of on and off with me. Like she doesn't super pay attention, but she sees some, and she likes the angle of like the dealing with the depression and dealing with working with yourself and your mental issues and stuff. She really loves that. She really does. When the weird stuff gets weird, she kind of hangs along. She's like, okay, that's weird, but she kind of lets it go. But
here we go.
Today,
here we go.
She was like, "What are we watching?" She literally said that, and I was like, I looked at her just like this. I was like, I don't know.
I
was like, I thought we were watching Doom Patrol, and Doom Patrol, yes, is weird, and I love. You've heard me say it many times on podcasts and on video. There's a part of sci-fi that should be weird because I think we've gotten into an era where sci-fi is only about science. It's only about space. It's only about technology. And I'm like, we're forgetting a large part of sci-fi that should just be weird.
Well, science and technology is weird until you get used to it.
Well, true. Yeah.
And and things like Doom Patrol need to be out there so we can, because you're right. Science fiction. Okay, we go all the way back to good old Captain Kirk and his interstellar cell phone. Kirk to Enterprise.
He was all cool. He was flipping that joint out like.
And but back then that seemed weird and out there, and now we're just like flip technology. That's quaint.
Flip phone.
We're acting a lot like those kids from Back to the Future. Yeah, we're acting like those kids from Back to the Future, where it's like, oh, he's got to play that game with his hands. God, But all that is weird when it's not imaginable. But since technology has come so far, we got to go way out. To think about something also, that we haven't imagined.
Another thing we need a way to differentiate the worlds from Titans. Because since they're in the same world, we need a situation where it's like, okay, Titans are dope, but Titans don't deal with this.
No.
In
fact,
Titans don't. And then
nobody deals with that.
Yeah, and then also we need situations where it's like, this is a Titans thing. I would never send the Doom Patrol for this. They couldn't handle this.
And
we need to kind of set those situations up
and that's
clearly.
The thing I got to give to DC, even Warner Brothers.
DC on television has been crushing.
Well, they're really good at setting up. This team is specifically for this. Like if you've got cosmic danger levels of adventure, absolutely send in the Justice League. If you've got magic and demons and darkness coming in,
hey Zatanna,
exactly.
Can you help a brother out?
You call in Justice League Dark.
Can you bring in the tuxedo jacket too? I'm just saying.
And
don't for me.
Don't forget the English dude. Yeah, don't forget the English dude. I got a carton of smokes for him. You
still dating an old dude. Yeah, the guy with the jacket.
Yeah, you call them. When you're looking at street level stuff, you can call the Outsiders. You can call the Titans.
And see, sometimes Outsiders can even deal with a little bit, depending on if they have like Brainiac 8 or whatever. The girl one. I don't remember her name. The girl one. But
when it comes to stories are becoming real.
Kissing.
Oh yeah.
No, a giant roach.
Stories are becoming real.
A giant rat.
Well, stories are becoming real, and there is a water bug who wants to be the harbinger of the apocalypse in a biblical manner. You ain't calling Ghostbusters for that.
Yeah, you're not going to be like, Robin, I need your help. You're not going to be like, Batman's not going to believe you. Batman, and the funny thing is...
I think Batman would, and I think Batman would be like, call the Doom Patrol.
Well, it's weird because in what was it, Justice League Dark, when everything was happening in the animated movie, Wonder Woman's like, hey, this happening, we think there's possessions or whatever, and Batman's acting like he don't believe it. She's like, I'm a guy. This dude's from another planet. This guy's from another planet. This guy runs faster than like a millisecond.
And Etrigan.
And you don't believe in demons? Like, it's like, he just... I guess he has his line.
Everybody does.
Everybody does. You know what I'm saying? They got their line, no matter what.
But then when you're dealing with stories have become real, and the disembodied head of a blue unicorn sang to you the severity of the problem and pointed you in the direction of a gender-neutral, sentient street to go find your boss who might be not inside of, no, that's where he was taken.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
But he's sending you to find your teacher who's being held between the panels of the comic book that your life is written on. You don't call Batman for that.
And you get there by a man that's half butt naked and he can flex to
his muscles
to change things, to
warp reality.
To warp reality.
Okay, he's Franklin Richards, but he has to strike a pose.
That's not a Superman thing.
Yeah.
It's not a Superman thing.
No.
It's not
you
a Wonder
only
Woman thing.
call the Doom Patrol or something like that. Number
Maybe,
one.
Maybe a lantern, maybe.
No.
That's
You know why?
Maybe.
No,
well,
you know
they
why?
got the mental thing, so maybe they could handle that.
They
maybe.
have the will to go against it,
but they don't
have the imagination to believe it.
True. Yeah. Because I could see Jon Stewart being like, what? Looking at it, coming at him like, what?
Yeah, he'd be looking at.
Hold on.
Jon Stewart will look at you and straight be like, "You need to put the meth pipe down right now."
It's like, no, believe me, there's a rat outside and it's like super big. Right? Okay.
It's a kaiju rat that actually drove my friend crazy by fornicating with its brain meat, and
it's
and at that point, that's when Jon Stewart just turns around and walks away.
He's like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think we'll have a great link between these two shows. Before we jump back into the episode, I think we'll have a good link between these two shows with
being Titans and Doom Patrol.
Yeah, with Raven.
With Raven and Swamp Thing.
So with that said,
yeah. So
we have a rat and a roach kiss.
Mm-hmm.
We
best roach ever, might I add.
Yes.
I mean, if I could get the roaches in my house to be like that when I was a kid, I'd probably not be sitting here right now.
Yeah, these guys can really get some things done.
And it's funny because, I really like the way that the final episode brings Ezekiel's story arc full circle, because he was there in episode 1, and we're going, what is up with this roach?
It's like, what are we doing? And see, the funny thing is, I thought that Ezekiel was being controlled by Mr. Nobody.
So did I.
But
so did I.
Now that we found out that,
Ezekiel was just a crazy apocalypse bringing roach in the first place. It's
definitely, Doom Patrol is definitely some behind the veil stuff.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. All the weird stuff is welcome.
Dude, it's behind the veil. It's behind the store that you bought the veil from. I mean, it is out there. It is out there.
Yeah. So, I guess before we get out of here, let's talk about Dorothy.
Yeah. It turns out there is no place like Danny Street.
Yeah.
And that was what my girlfriend asked. Is that Dorothy? Dorothy? I'm like, didn't you notice the blue dress?
Yeah. I was like,
yeah.
Okay, well.
Which means the chief.
Yeah.
The chief has a sister named M. Probably Emma. Because, that is most definitely Dorothy. Yeah. And here's something really terrifying.
All right.
Okay? Are you ready for this? I'm about to blow his mind, y'all. Watch this, right?
I'm ready for
All this was about getting a little girl. So you've got a really strong dude that's afraid of a whole bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. A really, really fragile guy who falls to pieces when his inside goes away. A character.
Doom Patrol is amazing.
Yeah. Again, this is the writing of Grant Morrison.
That's it.
Did y'all see it? Did y'all see that mind just go?
I was just like, you know what?
And all of them under the guidance of an old man who lied to them the entire time. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, Dorothy had the power the whole time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This show. Doom Patrol is a better show than a lot of people
Oh.
Even
it's better than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
You look at this thing and you're like, nah.
Straight up, when I saw the trailer for Doom Patrol, I was just like, yeah, I'm probably not going to watch that.
No, see.
And then I saw the second trailer because they had a teaser and then a trailer, something like that. And I saw the teaser or the second trailer or whatever, and I was like, you know what, maybe.
But let me guess, you saw the crossover on the Titans, where Beast Boy went home to Doom Manor, and then it's like, all right, who are these guys?
Yeah,
and you know what? That dude in the bandages, he's all right.
Yeah.
He's all right. Yeah.
And
who are these guys?
Look, if you make pancakes like that, you got I'm just saying,
Yeah, but you ate all the chocolate chips yesterday.
Fresh hot pancakes.
Yeah, but you ate all the chocolate chips yesterday, man.
With that syrup just right. I was like, you know what? I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Then I was like, girl can put it away, but I mean, we know that from the comics, even from the animated stuff. We know she can put it away, so we know that. But I got into him, and I was like, you know what? I think this can work. I think this can work.
Honestly, I saw the crossover. That was cool. I didn't recognize Brendan Fraser's voice.
Me neither.
And when I saw the first episode, I'm like, one, I'm a big fan of Doom Patrol. Most people that have played HeroClix with me have played against my Doom Patrol team or my Metal Men team, and they're like, who are these dudes? I'm like, they are the X-Men turned up to 16. And I'd be totally geeking out about Robot Man and Negative Man and Crazy Jane and Flex Mentallo and all those guys. So I loved them from the comic books, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna check out this show. But as soon as I saw Brendan Fraser, Alan Wrong Kind of Party Tudyk, hey, that's how he describes his name, okay? And Timothy Dalton, I'm like, I'm in. I'm just like, awesome all in.
This show has been amazing. I guess, what are your thoughts about season 1, and what do you want in season 2? Or does it even matter? Just as long as they keep bringing, because I mean, of course, now, as far as we know, Alan Tudyk will be probably taking a back seat for quite a while. He's probably not going to be back.
In truth, I want them to embrace the weird and stay the course.
Okay.
I am super afraid that they're going to go for what's safe, because safe is not where Doom Patrol lives.
Nah, I don't think. I think they've proven to us that they're like, nah, we're cool. But you never know. Season 2's.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
I hope they don't try and up the stakes a little more. I want to keep it on that keel where it is right now, because I want to get more people watching the show, and it's so weird. We don't need any up the stakes and make it more dangerous. Let's just keep it weird.
It actually is kind of dangerous, but it's so outlandish that it ends up not being as dangerous. It's weird because honestly, Ezekiel is just as dangerous as like a Thanos technically, but it's a roach, so you can't really you just can't look at him like he's a roach.
And again, that was a very good plan. It was a very good plan. Climbing into the roach to be used as a fallout shelter from a nuclear blast.
Perfect.
I'm going, all right, well done.
And I love it. And when the beer guy's like, but what about us? He was like, mother.
Oh, for the love of. And the fact that they were stuck on the page.
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
I would burn that painting as fast as I could, though.
Super duper props.
I would gas and burn it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this because again, it's old nerd out, because I've been a fan of this man for almost 20 years now.
Okay.
So big shout out to Phil Morris. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because that man.
That was a strong scene. Very strong.
Everything that he's done on this show.
But that scene was like a culmination of like just emotion. Like that whole what you've done is nowhere near.
Yeah,
we are not equal.
You did it to see if you could. I did it to save my son.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude.
Now at the same time, you might not have to be here with your son doing this if you had treated your son differently throughout his life, but it's still not the same.
Yeah.
Not even near the same.
And
the weight that he brought to that scene, I was like, boy,
Well, even
you better act.
Beyond the way, between he, the director, and the writers, I have to say, like, his portrayal of Silas Stone, and I'm saying this hard because I'm saying Papa Pope needs to take a lesson, because I'm serious, because Silas Stone has always been a complex character, always, and he's never been a very likable one.
Nah.
You know, I mean, it's one of those, you understand what he did, but you don't quite understand why. You try and convince yourself he did it because he loves his son.
True.
But he's a very cold dude.
Very.
And it's like the way that Phil Morris played this role was very, it's not that he was cold, it's that his character seemed to have been hiding behind the science to hold back the grief of everything that was going on.
Kind of throwing himself into his work.
That's exactly it. And I never got that from Silas Stone in any other portrayal. You know, and well, again,
to Miles Dyson's credit,
and Miles Dyson is no joke.
To his credit, you're dealing with the TV, which it seems like there's a lot less, I guess, I don't know if it's involvement or changes or whatever than the films. The films seem like there's like less freedom to be, you know.
It's less time for character development is what it is. But, and again, Miles Dyson is one of my favorite actors. Exactly. And his part on Eureka, and you know, Papa Pope, one of the most terrifying characters I've ever seen on television.
And he ain't no joke.
No, he is not. He is not. But, and again, this is again, I've been following Phil Morris's career for a long time, and I thought he nailed it as the Martian Manhunter in Smallville. But this, nah. He's on another level with this portrayal. Well, I think it's because of one, the age gap. I mean, he is a father to an adult man who has a difficult time with the world, partly because of what he did to his son, and partly because of the world that his son lives in. So
because his son, to a certain degree, sort of has a disability now.
Well, yeah,
it's weird. He's super, but he also sort of has a disability.
He is differently normal at this point. And Cyborg is seriously, like, he's one of the crowning flagship inspirations to the differently abled, I don't want to say market, but you know, that fringe, that oh God, I'm so tired, that niche, and you know, which was shocking for me, because I'm like, wait a minute, I always looked at Cyborg and I saw a black character, but the disabled thing just didn't. I'm trying to get better.
But then see, you're like, oh, duh.
Because he is an amputee, like you would not believe. And the fact that this season did not really go too far with the "I'm a monster, I'm only part of a man" story arc between he or Robot Man. So that was how this show really kept me, you know. But the weird relationship that those two had after Cyborg put Silas in the hospital, and then he found out, like, those memories that Mr. Nobody used to twist him all up and make him almost beat his dad to death was just a little bit of tinkering. But then it turns out his dad gave him false memories to protect him from the pain of what had actually happened. And I'm just like, I mean,
because when they showed kind of what actually happened, that was rough.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
And to be the person that had to do that to your son takes a whole nother level of disassociation. And maybe
I wouldn't go requires the disassociation, but you need some coping mechanism.
Yeah, you need something to be able to do that.
Yeah, because he was stuck in the situation of he was stuck in a Thanatos gambit. No matter what he did, one of his loved ones was going to die.
True.
And he did what every parent would do, which is, you know,
save the child.
Yeah, of course, because the child hasn't had as much time to live as the parent has.
Yeah.
So even Frank Miller, before he lost his damn mind, even wrote, old man dies so young girl can live. Fair trade.
Fair trade.
Grown woman dies so young man can live. I don't know one mother who wouldn't call that a fair trade.
Yeah.
And but how do you tell that to the young man?
Because see, the young man's always going to be like, but I love my mom or I love my dad. I wanted,
and
you won't be able to
they're
contextualize
dead
it
because of me.
Yeah.
That.
And then I know this sounds like a very parent thing to do, but you won't be able to contextualize it until you have a child. And then you're like, yeah, there's no way I'm letting that kid go and me stay here. There's no way. So then you kind of get it.
Well, until your kid can talk, that's when you tell him, I brought you in this world. I take you out.
Then I take you out.
And then I make another one that look just like you. Just like you. Test me. Love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
Yeah, so.
But yeah, this show.
I'm gonna say you'll get there. Yours is just yours hasn't learned how to talk yet.
Yeah, he's little things, but he's not there yet.
Yeah.
But this show has been magic. DC Universe has been pretty strong.
Yep.
Young Justice has been fire. Titans got his legs and finished strong for me.
It really did.
And
all right, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Doom Patrol is straight up flames. Weird flames, but flames all the same.
Oh yeah, these are definitely like turquoise blue mixed with a little rainbow mixed with a little popcorn flames.
Yeah.
But still fire.
Yes, definitely still
That
fire.
feels like soap.
So guys, holler at us. We're gonna holler at you. Down in the comments. Let's talk about Doom Patrol until next season.
Now, are we gonna be talking to him about Swamp Thing, or are you leaving that to me, or am I leaving that to you? I mean, that's.
I'll be talking about Swamp Thing next week, but I'm not sure if I'm going to follow it yet because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well,
so
you know what?
If we end up following it, then we'll probably do something like a big finale thing. We'll get together and have some fun too.
And if
I hate it, then I'll just leave it alone.
Right.
I try not to trash things on the show. So if I don't like it, I'll just politely decline.
And if you guys want to see us follow it, then when that time comes, we will let you know. Or is this the time I'm supposed to plug myself?
I'm about to throw it to you in
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, and to my right, I have a wonderful guy by the name of Solar Grey. Where can they find you?
Well, they can find me in two places. They can check out my YouTube channel, which is BidP, YouTube, just capital B, little I, capital D _P.
And it's in the link below.
All right, there you go. And of course, they can come down and check out all but one of my live shows over at twitch.tv/BID_P.
Link down there.
And Monday evenings is when we're going to be covering on our show Buster Recap. That's where we're going to be covering Swamp Thing week to week to week. Right now, we're already doing Cloak and Dagger, and we're doing Doom Patrol.
Very good show.
All the way back from the beginning of season 1. We're on episode 5 by the time this one goes up. Yeah. So and we're just we go through it episode by episode,
and
total breakdown, deep dives. Yeah, deep dives.
Yes.
And now the Swamp Thing is coming out. I'm like, oh yeah.
Cloak and Dagger is so great.
Oh man, yeah.
It's a great show.
So yeah, and that's where we're at. And
if you're a geek, it's an awesome time.
Oh yeah.
Really
Especially if you're a geek that is person of color, woman, LGBT, disabled,
Yeah.
or fiscally disenfranchised. Holla! This is a great time to be a nerd of any stripe because there's a place for you somewhere that you have access
to watch.
And we're all meshing into nerd. Regardless of what the toxic ones are trying to do, they're losing.
And
they're losing that fight.
I know sometimes it feels like it's great to kind of jump on something and kick it while it's down, but there's so much stuff to love. Just find something that you like and focus on that. Don't worry about stuff you don't like. There's things, if you don't hear anything on my podcast or on a video that I do, I probably don't like it. But I don't spend my time on it. I spend time on stuff that I like.
Yeah, that's one thing I gotta say that makes this internet thing a hard job. because they're like, yeah, you do, your videos do so much better when you say how they got this wrong or how this ruined your childhood or 8 things to hate about this thing. And I'm like, you know what?
There's only one thing. I did one video about hating something, and that was Lost in Space.
Really?
Because that mom, she was dumb, and she was too smart to be dumb.
I'm gonna send you a link.
That kid, when she said, "Don't go back there," and I saw that kid back there, and when I lied to you not, when the other girl had put him in handcuffs or whatever, I was like, I paused it. My wife was with. We both started. Like, I said, "Good. I'm glad she tied you because you deserve it. You don't listen." But besides that, that's me hating it in like a fun way.
Yeah.
Not hating it like I'm, like I'm buying something and ripping it up on stream.
I'll give you a link to the Buster Recap playlist on Lost in Space because that was the first show we did, and we were going, what? I get it, Dr. Smith. Okay, you're supposed to be smart. Well, no, you know what? Will is smart, but he's 6. He's smart, but he's 6. He's 6 years old.
There's no way 2 grown people is going to see this weird-looking lady roll up and be like, and neither of them be like, when they're alone, neither of them be like, what do you think about the lady?
Yeah, what's up with this Dr. Schmidt?
She's weird, right?
Yeah.
Like they never had that conversation where it's like, yo, she's kind of weird, right?
That entire show was saved for me by the engineer. He was tight. He was just playing cool.
He was dope. But,
but that's a different video for a different day.
But with that said, guys, of course, me, NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, podcast here on YouTube, and if you want to get your music on, Spotify, iTunes, holla at me. I got 6 songs out right now. Check them out, stream them, have a good time. Even on this channel, I have the full album, NERDSoul 10. It's songs that I did like 10 years ago. Just had to get them out, and y'all can check them out on this channel as I ride through LA. Now,
I was about to say, you get to see him drive a lot.
Yeah. Now, but that's it. Get out of the way. Make sure. Check him out. He's doing tons of dope stuff in the community, which I'm going to get him to talk to about right now.
All right. So, see, now he's dropping his bomb on me. But, Back in the Deck Productions, LA-based thing, and we've been working on the nerd culture thing. From the perspective of people of color, women, LGBT, the disabled, and the fiscally disenfranchised. And we have been starting up nerd clubs, gaming clubs, comic book clubs, writing groups in the Compton area. We're working on something in Watts. We're, trying to get stuff going. We're starting in SoCal with the community outreach stuff because that's where I am. But we're working on, I got one of my boys on a different continent actually working on a thing right now and trying to work with a couple of people in South America to get all of this nerd culture out there to show people that, especially to show them youngins that there's something other to do than banging, sports, and manual labor. Ain't nothing wrong with manual labor, especially if it's what you love doing. But there are more options. You're not locked in. It's just a matter of freeing up the mind.
Yeah, because where I grew up, nobody ever floated the idea to me like, hey, you can make cartoons for a living.
Right.
You can write stories for a living. That was never floated to me when I was coming up.
And see, that was when I was coming up. That's the stuff I wanted to do. But it's like, man, that you ain't never gonna happen.
Yeah.
And my mom
just get a real job.
Yeah. And my mom was a very big inspiration because she's a beautician, but she always wanted to get into special effects makeup. But she grew up in the 50s and 60s, and she didn't know what avenues to take. She had the talent.
And of course, 50s and the 60s, there were much less
different
avenues.
time.
We'll just leave that at that.
It was different times, especially for a black woman. But she had the talent and not the opportunities. Now we live in an age where information is ammunition on every level.
Yeah, definitely.
So as soon as a person can get an inspiration with this fantastically jumbled thing we call the internet, we have all the information, but now we have to learn how to ask the right questions.
True.
And that's what a lot of my clubs do. We use things like comic books, role-playing games, fantasy novels and stuff like that to just expand the thinking. Go, what? If I'm gonna write a story, there's so many people in, where you grew up on the east side and where I grew up on the west side that want to be writers and they can spit bars, but they, regardless of what school tries to show them, never
Yeah, they
really
never
gets
really-
the idea of how important narrative is or
Yeah.
character development. And
Like they
so,
definitely have the ideas, but nobody sits them down and is like, okay, cool, this is how it's done.
except for school, but they always do it under the structure of if you don't listen, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And so
You have
what?
to let kids be free sometimes
Right.
to kind of figure out their story.
Right. So what our club does is, I teach the kids how to play role-playing games from Dungeons and Dragons to Rifts to sci-fi based games, and we go, this is how to create a character, but you're going to play this character, so you have to think of everything through. This is the world that the game is set in, so now you have to think creatively to accomplish the things that you want to do. For you that want to run a game, this is how to properly write an outline and
Nice.
how to do world building. This is the mathematics statistical analysis that comes along with trying to build your stats in a certain way to get advantages on your dice rolls.
Cool.
And this is how to interact with other people face to face when you don't have the anonymity of a chat room. So,
Guys, check that out. So
yeah, this is what we're
of course,
working on.
Tons of stuff. Big P, find them, Twitch, YouTube, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in the SoCal area, holla at them. But until next time,
I'm around.
y'all watch that Doom Patrol.
Oh,
Watch that-
absolutely.
watch that Marvel Cloak and Dagger because we're going to have some fun. And this is just us to you saying thanks for hanging with us. And of course, peace.